Catchy song. Yeah, that's what it says. It says, which person broke the most people's hearts in Atlanta? It's a picture of Tom Brady with the football, and then it's her with the sign that says, welcome to Atlanta. And you know what's even crazier? You want to know what the top pinned comment is?
What?
We just going to act like Matt Ryan shouldn't be an option. And it's just like, and I love
a good game.
Well, I love it. Now, I love it even more because the top comment under that wasn't his fault. It was Kyle Shanahan. And then the next top comment is nothing was ever Atlanta.
Was that like supposed to be not the same?
I guess. And then and then a bunch of other comments basically say Kyle Shanahan.
I mean, that's who I blame it on.
It's a good question, though. I guess you're not from Atlanta. But,
I just this really had social media going crazy all weekend.
Well, and then people turning it into their city's version, saying if you're from here, you're from here. You're not from DC or Detroit or.
You know what? I saw somebody do it for Cartersville, and I was like, bro, stop. Please stop. Cartersville is not Atlanta.
Well, we know that. Like, you know what I mean? I think that what was so touchy about it, and for me, I'm a person that views, and I'm not saying that she's wrong, because to a degree, I guess she is correct. But when people look at Atlanta, they also look at the metropolitan. That's
because it's so fucking small.
Exactly. You know, Atlanta, I think they said have 600,000 residents. And I don't even know what that number is based on, because that could be based on just the units. And then, of course, there's so many people that live here that are not from here, like from Georgia, period, live in Atlanta. So I don't know what that number even is supposed to mean, because even for somebody like me, my driver's license still says Stone Mountain. So would I be considered a part of that 600,000, even though I live in the city and I don't pay taxes on Atlanta taxes?
Who knows?
Yeah,
I can't keep up with these things, but you know, I listened to what she was saying, and you know, great way to like capture people's attention for a little while. I just gave you a stream. You won't get another one out of me. But if that's what you really take pride in, you know, you love your city that much, you know what? Go for it. But take the part of Atlanta that she calls Atlanta. And that's the Atlanta culture that I want you to cling to, okay? That like anything that came from outside of it, anything that you said is not Atlanta, that it claims Atlanta culture, I don't want you to accept that as Atlanta culture, okay?
Yeah, don't work with Ludacris. Don't work with 2 Chainz. Don't work with Childish Gambino. Don't watch the show Atlanta.
No Migos.
No Migos.
No, I mean, not an Outcast would work with her. Or no Andre, not Andre, excuse me, no Big Boy, because Big Boy's from Savannah. Okay, you know, no Big Boy.
Right. No Gucci, no Jeezy. Them niggas aren't from Atlanta. They were born in Alabama. So
well, we don't know where Jeezy was born. I think Thomasville.
Doesn't matter. They're not from Atlanta. I know that much. And so
Jeezy is not Atlanta. And I mean, T.I. T.I. grew up on the west side, but he went to Riverdale High School. Riverdale is not Atlanta.
Well, and more importantly, too, Shawty Low called him out for that. He said it must be 2 sides. So I don't know which west side. That other west side might not be Atlanta too. So at this point, the only thing that we know is Atlanta is her word. Wherever, if you went to APS, you're Atlanta.
Grady baby.
Well, and even somebody said something about Grady babies aren't necessarily Atlanta. Just because you were born there, they say that just means that your mother couldn't afford
didn't have insurance.
Yeah, or something like that.
But you know what? She picked the most controversial place to shoot the video, because technically the Battery is Atlanta. But when
it's Cobb County and nobody looks at it like it's
right, but
when the address there is, it says Atlanta, Georgia.
It does, but
it doesn't say Smyrna. It doesn't say Marietta. It says Atlanta.
But I feel like they changed it when they built the stadium, dog. Because
I agree, but you know what's weird? Because I've been going. My gym is right next to it's like right there. So my gym is right there, and I've been going to that gym since I was like 9 or something. And so, like, I guess I don't remember whether or not it said Smyrna or not, but I've always looked at that as Marietta, Smyrna. That's exactly what I've always looked at that area as. And so,
Same. I didn't consider that Atlanta, and I just, and maybe again that was to get people going because it's technically Atlanta, but it's Cobb County, and
literally right at the perimeter too, because 285 is right there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying I don't know if it's always been Atlanta. Justice just showed me the address for our gym, and like I said, it says Atlanta too. And it's just I've never looked at it as Atlanta.
but you know what? We're bitter because we are not Atlanta. I think that's what it boils down to.
By definition, yeah, we're not.
Why do people care so much? And I guess because I'm from a small town, I don't have that same big city pride. But I'm like, dog, we're talking about places that are 20 minutes from each other. I used to live in San Diego. I could go to somebody else's house in San Diego and it would take me 45 minutes. And I wasn't driving from the bottom of San Diego to the top of San Diego.
Right. I just think that Atlanta being arguably the most unique place for it because there's so much in, especially what she's doing in rap culture, but culture just in general too. It's such a distinguished kind of place. And I mean, anyone that's from here, this is the thing. Everybody knows what Atlanta is because Atlanta has claimed so many people from within that radius of the perimeter and then slightly outside of it. Like Stone Mountain is slightly outside of the perimeter. And I don't look at Stone Mountain as Atlanta. Obviously, Lithonia can be because it's inside the perimeter, but depending on what part. My dad's house is in Stone Mountain. Our next door neighbor's house is Lithonia. And so it just is a matter of how you want to look at it, I guess. But I know that it's one of those things where everybody that's from here, if you're from here, you're from here, but only when you meet somebody else that's from here, the first question is, what high school did you go to? Because that'll give you a sense of what part of the city you're from. And so,
what high school do you tell people? Do you tell them the private school or do you tell them Stevenson?
Both. Just because even though I went to high school there for 3 years, I grew up on this same road. I mean, I went to elementary, middle, and my first year of high school, Stevenson. So like I identify with both, but certainly I could pull either card is kind of the thing because Sandy Springs, for what it's worth, that's Atlanta. Let me see.
No, I mean, if you type in Sandy Springs, it says Sandy Springs.
I want to see what the address for Mount Vernon is. 5110 Mount Vernon Highway, Atlanta, Georgia. So I went to high school in Atlanta. I graduated from high school in Atlanta. And so I don't know. I don't know what she was getting at with all this. But
I think that she is clever for the song and the marketing of it. Okay, I give you that. But I don't think she's the brightest little fish in the sea because if she were really trying to alienate all of these areas, she would just be alienating so much of Atlanta culture. That would be like somebody from the Bronx saying, "Yeah, now Harlem, that's not New York." Now, not that I don't rock with Harlem, and if you're from Harlem, you can't rep the Bronx. I mean, if you're from Harlem, don't rep the Bronx. Obviously, you're not from that borough.
Right.
But hold on, you're not part of the city.
Well, right? and that's what I asked Katora this. I asked her. I said, "So Manhattan, would that be considered you guys as downtown?" And she said, "Yeah." And so I said, "Okay." So I was like, "So if you live in Queens," I was like, "Does that make you not New York?" And then she goes into this whole borough thing and that it's all one. And I'm like, yeah, but, and I know that New York's the largest city in the United States, obviously, right? But at the same time, it's just kind of like, okay, I'm just curious as to how everybody looks at it. Because when people look at Atlanta as a city, the Olympics didn't come here because of what she was talking about. They came here for everything. The fucking tennis tournament was out here in Stone Mountain. So,
bro, the rafting shit was in Tennessee.
Was it?
Yeah.
Nonetheless, look, this is the point. The point is that geographically they looked at Metro Atlanta, and that was exactly why it came here. It wouldn't have come here if you were just trying to do everything right there. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think it's some great social media stuff. We may hear that a Falcons game. They may take a clip I can see that as a clip being played like in a sporting event. If somebody does something that's bad, that is not Atlanta.
Well, it could be, the Saints will be here, and then they'll say, born in New Orleans but live in Atlanta. That's not Atlanta.
Yeah. So there's some
New Orleans people that fucking live here. Like,
yeah, there's some funny stuff that you can do with that, but nonetheless, it's just more pop culture filth, man.